swings, hits it high and deep and gone. Still going back. Out of here. Welcome to the big leagues.
Deep to center field, and it is gone.
Wow, his first big league swing is going to be a grand slam home run. Swing and drive. Belton right. Welcome to the show.
Jackson, thank you so much for hanging on now and talking pitching. I'm excited to break down some of your ABs that you've had, or some of these innings that over the last couple starts in high A, man. It's been awesome to watch you go. Really appreciate you taking the time to break these down with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
So let's get into it here. Who's that sneaking in the back, by the way?
That is Brady Allen.
Brady Allen. What's going on? Love it. Let's jump into this and let's roll with – there's a few different ones I could start with. I think I want to start with the Khalil Watson at bat because I talked about it on the show where you doubled up on secondary stuff several times. I know you're on your phone, so if you can't totally remember or see what pitch it is, we'll try to decipher it together here. But I feel like you'll have a good idea. First pitch to Watson, I believe that was either a cutter or a breaking ball.
Yeah, that was a slider. The camera angle is kind of weird. So.
I was gonna say too. I wish I had. I would love to do this with you when you get to like double and triple, or maybe just some other better camera angles. I think West Michigan does a great job on the broadcast, but the angle is just a little tough to see the stuff.
Yeah.
But here, you're 1-1 on Watson, and there's a reason why I pulled this at bat because there's some pitches that you make here, and I'll let it run, and you can just kind of fill in, wherever.
Yeah. So I faced Khalil last year, and I saw him hit earlier in the week, and he hit a ball like 450 feet. It was a fastball, and I know he likes to hit fastballs, and I think he was hitting 2-hole. And this was kind of the one guy where I was like, okay, if I miss with a fastball, like I know he can do some damage, so I want to try to get ahead with the off speed early, and then have him kind of in defense mode with 2 strikes. So. That was my thought process. And I think I went, was it first pitch slider, then missed with a fastball away.
Yeah, we'll run it back here.
Yeah,
first pitch slider gets the inside corner. Love that. Probably asking is that as far as it goes, but that was a strike. Miss outside with the fastball. So, yeah, now you're 1-1. So your plan's kind of going as you thought, but it doesn't even count. What are you thinking now here? You're still trying to go to a secondary?
Yeah, I'm thinking I want to do what I can to get to 2 strikes. I want to win this 1-1 count. So I went fastball, missed away arm side, and then cutter off bat that probably looks like it's going to be in the same place, and then towards the end kind of backdoor.
Yeah, so is that what you were trying to do with that? Was backdoored, or did it kind of back up on you a little bit?
Yeah, I was just trying to get it in the zone. But, yeah, it backed up on me, and we'll take it.
Yeah.
He probably – didn't want to hit that at all. Probably didn't look good to him. And then went heater up top. I've been working on finishing with fastballs up, rather than just going straight to the slider. Don't want to try to be predictable. So
that's what I was going to ask you, because what was interesting here is you said, I know he likes fastballs, and I don't want to give him fastballs and fastball counts basically. But that's a pitch where you talked about on the podcast. You gave up a couple home runs in that first high A start where you made good pitches and guys just put great swings on it. It happens as you get to the higher levels. But that's a pitch you feel like where you throw it with the life that you have and early in the game where you're sitting 97, 98. If he gets on top of that, you're tipping your cap. Like that's exactly where you wanted it to be.
Yeah, exactly. I knew that if I executed it, then it was going to work out. And if anything, I wanted to miss up. So I put that in probably exactly where I wanted to be and got the result I wanted. So definitely felt good about that one.
Real quick,
hitter, so it felt good.
Yeah, no, and he was off to a great start to his Guardians career here in that organization. The other thing that I've noticed is you're getting a lot of carry on these fastballs. I mean, several of the pitches that you threw, fastballs that you threw in this outing, and that might have been one of them, were 18, 19, 20 inches of vert. Is that something that's kind of come along for you in the time that you had off as well? You talked about working downhill on the podcast and those things, but I've really noticed just the jump that this fastball has. The velo has always been there, but now you're getting that vert.
Yeah, the vert and the ride last year was really inconsistent. So that's been a big focus of mine with the fastball, like playing catch, watching the ball spin, making sure I'm getting that efficient spin. And yeah, it really is a huge factor. Even if you're getting 2 or 3 more inches of carry, like it really does show. And so, yeah, I definitely think that was one of my better fastballs.
And that's got to give you so much more confidence in the zone and at the top of the zone, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So excuse me for jumping around here a little bit because I just kind of pulled the at-bats that stood out to me as I watched through the starts. So we might go third inning, back to the second, back to the fourth. But this is another one. We'll see, what you kind of remember here. This is the only one that I picked. Oh, no, this is not the one that I was thinking of. Okay. I thought there was another one with him where I think you went 3-0 to start. And I love the way you battled back. But this is one where you get ahead real quick. I'll kind of just let you run here on what your approach was now against a righty.
Yeah. Against righties, if I can go first pitch slider and land it even like middle, I'm getting pretty good movement on my slider. So if I can land it first pitch, it's usually a free strike. So I like to go to that. And then I worked on heaters at the bottom of the zone for this week because last week I got in trouble with some heaters up that they elevated and hit deep. So I wanted to go fastballs down early and then elevate late with 2 strikes. And I think I barely caught the bottom of the zone on this one. So I did exactly what I wanted. And then I think I went back to a slider. And I think this was a really good take on his end.
Yeah. I love that you remember that. Exactly. That was a sick take. And so when you're ahead 0-2 and he spits on that, one, that probably tells you, you've got a good slider. So if he's spitting on a pitch located like that, he was probably looking for it.
Yeah.
How do you recalibrate now and adjust to that, knowing that he had a relatively easy take versus what most people have on your slider, and you're still way ahead 1-2?
Yeah, I think that tells me that he is up there guessing, and up there guessing is dangerous with 2 strikes because if I go fastball there, I'll probably get him. But then I go back to I went heater at the bottom of the zone, and then I went changeup kind of off that same plane, and I don't think he was expecting right on right changeup.
No, not at all. So that was that easy take almost like good feedback for you there, where it's like, okay, he guessed right there. There's no way that he's taking my breaking ball that easily. And then you go to a pitch that no way was probably in their scouting report. Was that right on right change, which we talked about on the podcast, has just continued to come along for you. I mean, that you got to have a lot of confidence in your changeup to go right on right like that when you're up 1-2.
Yeah, for sure. And my first thought here probably wasn't changeup, but I go like Fonzie, our catcher's done a great job. We've had great communication. So he threw that down. And especially after the low fastball, like I love it. So my thought process was the only way I'm gonna get in trouble with this pitch is if I leave it up. So I just thought, if anything, bury it. And I was able to throw a good one and got the result I wanted.
And you showed off the grip on the podcast side. And is that one where when you're ahead, is it like the changeup? Can you manipulate that a little bit based on the pressure that you put or the pronation? Like if you're ahead and you have some pitches to work with, is that one where you're maybe even trying to get a little bit more of that arm side fade or horizontal to it, or is it kind of the same every time you throw it?
Yeah, it's honestly kind of the same. When I tend to try to make it nasty or try to do too much is when it becomes terrible. So
yeah, that makes sense.
And I've learned that honestly through this year, and that goes the same for all my pitches. So yeah, I just kind of stayed on with the same approach on that one.
Totally. Well, we got another Watson at bat here, and I pulled this one again because it was you start with secondaries. That would have been a fastball that missed out, or was that a changeup? Changeup that missed down, right?
Yeah, either changeup or slider. Yeah, maybe changeup.
Oh, that might have been a slider. I can't tell. But we'll see this next pitch here.
3-0. Oh yeah, I don't.
Oh no, so this wasn't Watson. My fault. This was not Watson. So this is the one where you fall behind 3-0, and I just love the way you battled back here. So we can skip the balls if you want, but honestly, these were all like good takes.
Yeah, that's a strike right there. I want that. You
want that one?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I mean, these were pretty good takes, borderline pitches. You're behind 3-0, nobody on, 1 out. You obviously don't want to walk anybody. You talked about how that's like the bane of any pitcher's existence, but specifically yours. You pour the strike in there, now 3-1.
Yeah, so I go 3-0. I knew he wasn't swinging, so grooved a fastball in there. And then 3-1, I know he wants a heater, so I give him the slider, and he's pulls it. He's early.
Is that a spot where you're thinking cut? You know, with that new cut, like that's a spot to maybe go with it too. But if you miss and he's sitting fastball, that could be in the seats, right? So is it the pitch you have more confidence with 3-1?
Yeah, I love throwing the cutter when I'm behind to get ahead. And so, yeah, that was either a cutter or a slider. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, that one I'm trying to see which. I mean, whatever it was a hard slider in on the hand. It did the same trick, right? Like that's what you're trying to do. Looked like a slider. Looked like it had a little bit more depth to it, but hard to tell.
I think it was a slider that I just kind of left up, but got away with it because he was definitely looking for a fastball.
So now what do you leave it up, but it still works. He was looking fastball. You tie him up a little bit with that. Now, what are you thinking?
Now I'm 3-2. I'm really just trusting my catcher. I think I can get him with the heater. Obviously, don't want to walk the guy. He threw down a slider, and I'm like, great. Like, slider feels good right now. So I wanted to just throw it in the zone, give myself a chance, and was able to throw a good one. That was probably on the black that he swung through.
So that's the reason why I pulled this at bat was not only that you go to the slider 3-2, you go to it after going to it 3-1. So he had just seen the slider, and you have so much confidence in it that you go to it again 3-2. Like to me, that just to overuse the word confidence, but that just screams confidence to me, right? Because you go to that secondary pitch with nobody on. You talk about how much you don't like walking people. You hadn't walked anybody in either of these two high A starts. But after showing him the pitch once, doubling up on it on a 3-2 count, like that's how good that pitch feels to you always, but specifically right now.
Yeah, definitely right now. The biggest thing is, like you said, confidence, and a lot of it is mental. Like right now, I'm not up there scared of throwing balls, whereas last year I feel like I was, but I've had more success with throwing strikes this year, so I expect to execute most of my pitches right now. And going back to, like I said earlier, like it's a chess match. So I obviously went 3-1 slider, and then I doubled up, went 3-2 slider, and I don't think he was expecting that at all.
No.
So I was just trying to put it in there and make it somewhat competitive, and I was able to do that. So definitely a good AB. I like this one a lot.
We got two more ABs to work with here. Now here's the Watson at bat. This would have been the second Watson at bat in the fourth, and this is where I thought you started him. He squares to bunt, which is interesting.
Yeah, that was interesting. I thought the same.
I haven't really seen him do that much. He's a guy that likes to swing it for good reason. I mean, we talk about the power he's got. So squares to bunt, whatever. You get a strike there. That's probably not where you wanted that one, but it works when he squares to bunt. Was that? I mean, you can't really be adjusting on the fly when a guy squares like that. But is there a level of like I don't really care where I throw it once you see him square like that, or that one's going to get away from you?
100% it is. I saw him square, and I was just trying to throw it anywhere because to me, like I said, I played shortstop all my life, so like I'm throwing that, and I'm going to make this play. So
yeah,
right, he fouled it off, and I was like, okay, great, free strike against a good hitter, so we'll take it.
Yep. So you're ahead now. What's your thought after he squares to bunt? You get the strike.
Now it's really just a race to 2 strikes. So now I want to get ahead again. Obviously, he's a good hitter, so I don't want to give him anything middle. Get us.
All right, there's the changeup.
Yeah.
I mean, so you had it rolling for you there. Now you're way ahead 0-2. Are you thinking about the first at bat and what he's already seen? And now that you're ahead 0-2, like you have your whole arsenal at your disposal. But I almost feel like you can almost overthink yourself into throwing him a pitch that he's sitting on here. Like, what are you thinking now? Second at bat, you got him the first time around. What are you going to way ahead here?
Yeah, I'm really just trusting my catcher right now because things are feeling good. I'm not trying to be scared. I think I went fastball and left it mid. Yeah, I went fastball. I went fastball, left it up, and then I want to say I went back to it, and I definitely left it middle. Yeah, I got away with that one for sure.
That's where the vert helps you, right? Like that's where that life, if it just still sneaks up a little quick. So you miss your spot there. What are you thinking? Like you're
Yeah, I'm thinking threw him 2 heaters. Now let's go back to our bread and butter, go slider here. And I definitely tried to back foot this, and it backed up on me, but
I love his face here, where like it's just one of those where there's absolutely nothing you can do about that as a hitter. Like
yeah,
if you backdoor a guy like that. So that was an accident. You're trying to back foot him, you backdoor him, but do you feel like you have just such a big margin for error, relatively speaking, because pitchers don't, but relatively speaking, a larger margin for error with that slider because there's so many different ways that you can get whiffs?
Yeah, with the slider for sure. That's why I kind of just try to, especially with 2 strikes, set my sights middle and just try to throw it as hard as I can. If it backs up on me, then I think I had 2 of them that backed up on me that I got strikeouts on. So definitely helps my confidence with that pitch for sure.
Last one, and then we'll let you go here. This was a fun one because cutter, you start him with the right on right cutter. Not exactly where you wanted. He was pissed also. I don't think Bartlett was thrilled with this call. Yeah, there you go. You get it. I don't know. Maybe it got the top of the zone. But it sets you up well, though, because that's a pitch that probably looked like it was going to miss in on his hands.
Oh, exactly.
Whether it was a strike or not, it was close enough. Now, what are you working with off of that after you crowd him in with a hard cutter in the low 90s?
I'm going – I can't remember what I threw here, but it was the same that I mentioned earlier of where I wanted to go, fastballs down. Yeah,
yep.
And I put it again there. Cool.
Look at that recall.
Oh,
it's a good recall. But that's one he doesn't like, but that's bottom of the zone. I mean, especially with
both those 2 pitches I know he didn't love because those were probably barely strikes. So definitely would take that, and then I think we went.
That's another one of those like good take, right? But you're like, okay, he had to be looking for that, right?
Yeah, and then I think I go back to it. So I'm like, no way he's taking that again.
See, that's an interesting one to me. So the other side of it, we were talking about how you saw that easy take, so you go right on right change because it's like he's playing the guessing game here. Now, in this instance, you get that easy take compared to what most people do with your slider, and you go to it again because you think that he doesn't think he's going to double up. You're going to double up on it. Like, I feel like that's 2 different schools of thought that both worked. How did they both work, and how did it work in this instance?
Yeah, I think he was definitely expecting spin there, as well as the last at bat, and I gave it to him. And the last at bat, I went away from it. I went slider, and then he took it, and then I went to change up. So I think he was definitely expecting me to throw something else because he did have such a good take on that, and then went right back to it. He was probably thinking heater, and then was able to throw a good one right there.
That's also one too, though, right? Like you hit your spot to perfection there, pretty much.
Yeah.
Where like even if he is sitting on that, what's he doing with that? Like that, the only guy I can imagine like putting a good swing on that is like the Miguel Cabrera type big leaguer who just sits back and shoots it the other way, and you're just like, how the hell did they do that? Like that's one where you almost can't get burned on that location, right? Like you can live there.
Yeah, for sure, especially with the slider. That's the goal right there, especially with 2 strikes. Yeah. Last thing you want to do is leave that middle.
Real quick as we wrap up here, I'd love for those who maybe may not catch the YouTube side of it. Do you mind showing a couple, at least just 2 grips? I'd love to see for the listeners and viewers to see the changeup grip and the slider grip as we wrap up here, because again, your slider is diabolical. It's 3,200 RPMs a lot of the time, routinely over 3,000. Like, how do you do that, and what does the grip look like? And then, if you could rehash that change-up grip real quick as we wrap up.
Yeah, for sure. This is the slider grip. I kind of grip it like a 2.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah. And I try
you
to
can get that much. So you put more pressure on the middle finger.
Yeah. I don't. A lot of guys will spike this. I think Lance McCullers does that, but I keep both of them here. Try to put more pressure on this, and really, like, in my mind, I'm trying to throw it harder than I throw my fastball.
Wow. And is that what allows you to? That's what allows you to get those 3,000 RPMs. Do you think it's just pure arm speed?
Yeah, I think just ripping it for sure.
I love that. And then the change up.
Oh yeah, change up, go kind of a split change grip, weird, just trying to pronate it and use the kind of the split to kill some spin and give me a little more depth. But
That
yeah.
thing works, man. It's been working well. Well, dude, I appreciate you spending the time to hang out on StreamYard now, break down these outings, and would love to circle back and do it with some better camera angles when you get to AA and AAA, and then of course the big leagues before long. I know with the way you've been throwing and the way you look, it's going to be hopefully a quick ride through the minor leagues. But most importantly, congratulations on all the success that you had. Congratulations on getting back and looking so good right out of the gate, man. And like we said on the podcast, just can't wait to see you keep doing your thing.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Appreciate it, man.